that sort of if you build it, they will come. And if you provide programming and provide structure, that people will tend to find you. But we're really trying to do more than build lacrosse players. We're trying to build good, responsible citizens and people who are going to continue to give back to the lacrosse community and their own communities. Lacrosse is traditionally a sport that's not very accessible. There's sort of a high barrier to entry and high cost of equipment. You need a lot of field space and stuff like that. So MetroLacrosse was started basically with the idea that everyone should have an equal opportunity to play lacrosse and to play different sports regardless of, you know, either financial or geographical barriers to entry.
Most of the players that come into the program are not very aware of what lacrosse is. It's a very new sport for them, and there's, you know, likewise, there's not a lot of skills to be had already. But we start with the fundamentals, and we work with throwing, catching, picking up the ball off the ground, move into things like shooting and dodging, and we start from the basics and move our way up from there. And I would say those kids that do stay in the program for a few years and are there consistently, those skills do definitely develop, and they turn into pretty proficient players. I mean, in many cases, these are students and players who don't have a lot of direction in their lives, or come from backgrounds where they're very independent and they're taught to be very independent from a young age. So trying to be very strict with them doesn't always work. You really have to earn their trust, and you have to have a little bit of credibility with them. But once you do that and you show them that by working hard and by following directions and really focusing, they'll become better players. They accept that, and they'll work hard for you.
We sort of use the sport of lacrosse as sort of the hook to keep these kids involved in something like productive after school. Lacrosse is like so addictive. People love it. They get so into it, and they just want to play it forever, which is probably why we have such an easy time getting volunteers. We're so fortunate. There's so many people who love the sport, you know, had such a great time playing and want to give back. Responsibility, effort, sportsmanship, participation, enthusiasm, communication, and teamwork. And so those are sort of our core values that MetroLacrosse sort of strives to instill in all the kids. And so we use that to sort of model our practices around. So there's a lot of, obviously, athletics, but there's also, you know, team building activities. Violence prevention is one of our themes for this spring. You know, get kids to talk about just a lot of different subjects that they might not normally come across.
One practice could be responsibility, and each person could like focus on their responsibility to take their part on defense or offense. One could be effort, to try as hard as you can for the whole practice, and so on.
We also have a number of different academic programs, so we are trying to help kids get into and explore different options academically.
We have to, you know, make flyers. Sometimes we're coaching at schools, setting up team bags, a lot of different things. Yeah, for the high school players, now you have to come to homework help twice a week because I guess, you know, they care about your grades slipping, so it's a requirement. You have to come. MetroLacrosse, you know, really helped me. I'm not mean anymore, and it just, I don't know, it just helps kids a lot with their attitude problems.
Sports is not just about coming and just play, but, you know, having the coaches sitting on time tells the kids that, you know, it's a responsibility too.
We also have a partnership with the Boston Cannons, so both of the professional lacrosse teams that are in Boston we work with pretty closely. They're very helpful. One of our staff members actually plays for the Cannons, so we've been very tight with them since the beginning. They're always very supportive of MetroLacrosse. We do a lot of events with them, tickets to the Blazers and Cannons games, and it's great to have that presence around the kids so they can, you know, have something to look up to and it's great for those organizations to get involved in the community as well.
We just have like a really big loyalty among our supporters and volunteers. They sort of get hooked to MetroLacrosse and they come back year after year. I think all of the coaches that were there tonight have been coaching for like 3 or 4 years. Definitely not. I mean, I know that there are other nonprofits that have, taken the hit, but I think, MetroLacrosse should be fine. Everyone's tightening their belts. Luckily, our sponsors are still, supporting us to the level that they have. I'm not sure if next year will be different. We obviously have to sort of come up with a backup plan. Without them, I don't think our programs would exist because it costs, it would cost thousands and thousands of dollars to outfit all of those kids in, uniforms and helmets and all that stuff. So we get a lot of help from a lot of different community partners, which is great. Everyone has to sort of take a closer look at the budget and make sure that we're being as efficient as we can be. Our most expensive cost every spring is transportation. So because the T and the bus system is not that great, we end up transporting kids to and from practices and games a lot, which ends up just being so expensive. So we've cut down a little bit on that. There are a lot of volunteers who, can't get out of work early to go coach or something like that because they don't want to put their job in jeopardy. So we've sort of seen both sides of that.
I think if these kids learn to challenge themselves and learn that adversity is not something to be afraid of, they'll be more successful in the future.